All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another edition of Bullish or Bullshit. And today we're talking about the government putting GDP numbers on chain. Is this cool? Is this badass? Is this the future? Or is this just some marketing hype and doesn't really matter? So, yeah, announced this morning, and there's a video with Howard Lutnick. He posted that the GDP growth numbers for the US were 3.3%. That sounds pretty bullish. We like that. But they also announced that they'll be putting the GDP numbers on the blockchain. And specifically, there's two people helping with this. There's the Pith network, which is one of the largest. I use the word decentralized kind of like as an asterisk, but decentralized and strong Oracle networks. And then you have Chainlink, which is probably the OG one. And oracles are basically ways to verifiably prove some kind of information, and then through a price feed, an API call, you can get that data into a blockchain. So very useful for a lot of things. So basically what they're doing is they're taking this GDP data to start, and they're putting it in a bunch of blockchains at once. And so as you can see here, there's like 10 on this list. Pith has another like 10 or so because they're the two partners. And so mostly EVM chains. You do see Botanix, which is an EVM compatible Bitcoin L2. So that's a standout, interesting one there. And yeah, we saw, Brian Armstrong, head lobbyist, just kidding, announced that Coinbase is helping as an infrastructure partner. I also saw tweets that Gemini and Kraken are providing infrastructure. So all that to say, not that interesting in my mind. Like putting data on chain is kind of cool. The government helping out and getting more crypto native and compliant is pretty cool. But do these numbers actually mean that much being on chain versus in some database on a government website? Not really. So I don't think that means that much. This is really in the bullshit category to me. In the future, if this brings them more and more on chain, maybe we can discuss some things there. Bringing tokenized assets on chain maybe could be very interesting, like they're doing with tokenizing dollars through like USDT and trying to push people into dollar hegemony with that. One thing I will say though, and I see this as someone who spends time in the Stacks community, is that a lot of people say, why does Stacks get neglected by the government? Because they were the first SEC regulated offered token that did all the legal work to do it, compliant. And they do all that work, and then the current administration gives them no love. And at first I felt the same way. But then the more I think about it, that's actually a pretty stupid take, because the current administration is trying to do everything correctly, meaning just thinking from first principles, or, whoever's in their ear, whatever, what's the best option going forward for the US? And a lot of their positioning is undoing what the Biden administration did wrong. And in the SEC's case, what Uncle Gary Gensler, was, keeping close to the chest and not allowing during his reign as the SEC chair. And so now that Gary's gone, and the Trump administration is being much more open to crypto, all those things of doing it correctly back in the day don't really matter. And so this is more of a call to action to anybody in the crypto space who is playing by a perceived old rules. The only game now is biz dev and lobbying and getting in front of the right people today. Like all the stuff we did in the past is largely irrelevant because the rules are changing so fast. So you have to go and get after it today is something that I'm quickly realizing is the game has changed, and so that is what it is. So that's my latest addition with the sick Cyclops glasses of bullish or bullshit for this latest thing of government posting data on the blockchain. It's mostly bullshit. Proceed.